Goodbye 2018 and welcome 2019. Happy New Year, everyone. And I hope you've had a wonderful holiday season. You are rested and had a lot of fun and not too hungover. So this video, I would like to share with you my real feelings about this coming year, my intuitive gets, and what this year is going to be about. And I get this by using several different modalities. I use the I Ching divination, numerology, channeling, and my own intuitive readings. So it's going to be a big year. And this might be a long video. So get your coffee, your tea, your wine, or start house cleaning and turn me up because you're going to want to hear the real deal. This is going to be a really important year, okay? No fluff from this channel, okay? I'll leave that to the other people, but you're going to get it real here. I mean, this is realistic spirituality. Of course, this is only my opinion. Anyway, the big words for this 2019 that I got are water, look out, frenzy, chaos, self-worth or the development of your true self, and new beginnings. We can't have new beginnings without a little chaos. You know, it is my opinion that on this planet we haven't really risen to the level of chaos that we've needed in order to catapult us into new beginnings or real changes. So I feel this year is going to be a little chaotic, the beginning of the real chaos. Chaos is a good thing, right? You can't have new beginnings without chaos. So 2019 is in numerology a 3-year, but it is a 12-3 year. And the 3 being the core of the 12 is all about water, emotions, and everything that is symbolic of water in life. But before I go deeper into that, I want to, sorry, my throat is really dry, so I may have to get some water here. Let's take a look at 2018 because it's a great comparison of where we've been and where we're going. 2018 was an 11-year, an 11-2 year. And the 11 is all about mental structures. And the 11 function as a death to rebirth kind of energy. And it acts in ways of shocks to people's system. So I suspect that this year, many new people had new levels of awakenings or openings in their mind through shocks to the system. Death, divorce, job changes, or they've stumbled onto some new information, it shocked them, something that shocked their system that caused them hopefully to look at their mental structure, their belief system, and open up to something wider or higher, okay? So, and many spiritual awakenings are happening via that route. And I think last year we had a lot of people just popping all over the place. And even if you're not popping into the spiritual realm, you may be changing your perspective or seeing that, wow, this world, something's not right here. You've had a shock to the system and you're saying, this isn't working. Something in my gut is telling me something isn't right. And this is opening your mind, okay? So 2018 was a mental body year. The people on the spiritual path were really looking at how the mind was out of control and all of their self-devaluing, self-deprecating thoughts, all the thoughts that were limiting. Okay, so this was a mental body year. Mental body. Dealing this, that's a huge area to be working with, working on, and healing and becoming aware of. But this alone is not enough to catapult us as a collective into this ascension path, into really creating change on this planet. No, it's not. And that's where this year comes in, the year of the 3, the water. It's all about emotions, okay? So everything that is symbolized by by water is emotions. Physical issues with water are going to come up. Talk about that later, but it's going to be water, 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 emotions, crying. You are going to have chaos and a frenzied feeling in your emotional body. And it is also, water is also the Kundalini energy. It is the Shakti energy on the planet. It is the mother, the divine mother. Okay? All of this is going to be amping up. Sorry, I've got a lot of things to talk about, and I'm trying to keep them all straight. I do have notes. So, emotions. Last year, or the past several years, since 2012, most people have been really dealing with their mental bodies. That's not enough. And this year is the end of that 7-year cycle. We already know that 7 year is always a transformation. The last year of the 7-year cycle is big, okay? We have to deal with our emotional body. So life is going to get chaotic emotionally. Because I guarantee you, like what happened in my life just this last month, you've been going along fine, you feel like you're evolving spiritually, and you still find that you're still reacting and still having a little suffering, right? This happened for me. All these emotions started coming up, and I'm like, wow, I thought I figured all this stuff out. No. You've cleared the mental patterns, or you've become aware of the mental patterns, but the emotions now have to catch up. So that's what this year is all about, dealing with your emotions. And I'm not talking about, oh, you're feeling sad and you're going to cry them, just expressing them. You've got to get to the level of understanding of why they're there. Okay, so there is a mental aspect to this, but you can't heal anything without understanding why those emotions got there in the first place. What thought pattern is keeping those emotions in place? So this is all about deep dive into your emotions, number 3, and about expressing them in a healthy way. It's also about our sexuality. Expressing our sexuality in a healthy way. And that comes from dealing with our emotions. Now, let me back up a little bit and talk about the collective. You know, we're all hoping for this big shift, ascension, new world, new Gaia, new Earth to come into play. That isn't, let's see. The mental body, yes, we've worked on and cleared. But that's only one half of the equation, that mental body that was connected to the collective consciousness. The other half is your emotional body. And that's really a much bigger and more difficult body to heal and clear. And your emotional body, and I keep pointing downwards because that's your belly. Okay, you have to get into your belly. Your emotions create your astral body, the astral realm. And the astral realm, that lower 4th dimensional reality, or even 4th dimensional reality, is where all of the collective is still living. Despite, this is my opinion, Despite what other spiritual people are saying out there that we've shifted into the fifth, some people, yes, have shifted into the fifth because they've cleared their emotional field, okay? If you haven't cleared or done work on your emotional body, then you still are attached astrally to this fourth dimensional reality. You're still attached to the collective, okay? So this is why it's coming up. This is going to be a chaotic year. You've got to deal with your emotions. And that's the only way to unhook from the collective reality so that you can shift into a new dimensional reality. And let's speak about that for a second. This, you want to shift. You don't just want to raise your vibration, okay? This isn't about feeling better, having happier emotions and being happy, having a positive attitude, okay? The mind can kind of do that. This is about clearing out cellularly what's in your body and allowing a higher consciousness to come in. More on that later. Okay, so beyond the three and symbols of the water, it's a 12-3 year. And that 12 indicates the ocean of consciousness. So it is really time, in my opinion, for all of you already on the spiritual journey that are leaning more towards the new age, controlling your reality, not controlling your reality, or trying to make a happier life, manifesting, trying to attract your soulmate, or being a light worker. It's time to maybe not let that go, but shift your attention to the other half of the spiritual journey, which is all about learning about consciousness, what you really are, and awakening in consciousness, shifting your level of consciousness. This is what the Aquarian age is all about. It's not about raising your vibration, okay? This is what the New Age in those teachings want you to raise your vibration so you're happy, but that isn't going to work. You need a shift in consciousness, okay? When you're raising your vibration in an octave at a level of consciousness, okay? But when you clear out your emotional body, you allow higher consciousness or truths or perceptions in reality to come in, to awaken, so that you can awaken to your true self, and that shifts your level of consciousness into a whole new dimension. So this is why it's critical in this year to begin studies into the area of consciousness. I can point you in some directions. You can listen to some interviews and they may seem really dry to you and boring, but it's really time, okay? It's time to shift your attention from trying to control and create a beautiful, happy, new life, lots of money through outer circumstances, and shift to the inner journey, the ocean of consciousness, which will be symbolized in the predictions later. So you can go listen to interviews from Conscious TV, Buddha at the Gas Pump, or listen to people like Adyashanti, Rupert Spira, David Spiro, maybe even Mooji. Anyway, go do your research and listen to how those people are speaking, those teachers are speaking, and what they're teaching, how different it is from the other. Law of attraction, meeting your soulmate, okay? Completely different. Okay, so that's a 12-3 year. Let's see, I have my notes here. Okay, so this chaos and emotion. So whether you consciously decide to look at your emotions because of the chaos that's coming in, you're going to be forced to do it anyway. This is where that frenzied word was coming. I felt this frenzy, okay? All this stuff kind of coming up. And if what I was feeling last month or the end of this month was any indication, heaven help us. Because if you, say you've been on this spiritual journey and you have been clearing your emotions and you think you're all settled and ready to go, well, no. You're going to have the collective emotions to deal with. So be prepared. I think that's what I was feeling, with some very personal stuff, but collective stuff as well. I mean, I did say I'd be open to clearing that for the collective, and, be careful what you ask for, but it's going to get really dark. Okay. We'll talk about that in another video. Let's see. Here's where I think we need to go. The emotions have to start coming up in a really big way, because we have to tap into our anger. Anger is one of those emotions that is recognized by the cosmos. It is a divine emotion. And I know you're thinking, well, I've been angry for years, since 2012 or whenever I woke up. And I feel like people, yes, they're angry and frustrated and disappointed, but I feel like that anger was like a passive anger, this kind of victimized, poor me. I'm looking to a savior, the galactic, somebody, the reset, financial, something outside of myself to save me, because I'm a victim and I'm angry, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Perhaps because I unconsciously believe that I deserve this. It's part of my plan. Something, a real kind of passive anger. And this year, that anger is going to come up, okay? Because I think when you start, diving in to your belly and feeling what's going on, you're going to recognize how far out of alignment you have been from your soul, from the cosmos, and all of nature. And that should and must piss you off, okay? That anger has to come out, and you have to start taking action, but not action externally. It's kind of like, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm clearing this and I'm going to get in touch with my true self. Okay. So I'm going to kind of read you bits and pieces of a little channeling that I got that kind of talks about this same theme, but from a different perspective. For those of you who care who it is, this came in from Archangel Michael. And it may sound a little harsh or flat, but we have to remember Archangel Michael is a first-ray soul. And it is also a warrior soul grouping. And they tend to talk real strict, kind of like me. So it says, yes, we have a message for this group of great importance. The hope for humanity. We see a great change occurring amongst your people in the coming times. A new revolution of thought, that no thought is better than any thought. This new way of thinking or not thinking will change the way you behave at a cellular and instinctual level. You must declare your sovereignty from thought. Okay? Meaning, stop trying to figure out your life, how to make changes. You got to dive into your feeling body. Okay? Feel your way out of whatever you're unhappy with, because I guarantee you what the mind is telling you to do, change jobs, moves, find a mate, lose weight, get healthy, none of that is going to work. Okay? It's going to be different. What your body and feeling consciousness says to do with your life is going to be completely different than what your mind has been telling you to do. Okay? And they're saying that this is a great feat. this is no great feat in large scale masses, because so many people are still hypnotized to believing, they're having a happy life, that this is utopia. So it's very hard to change those mental patterns. But if enough of us dive into the feeling consciousness and we have shifts in consciousness, you have no idea how much more good you're doing for the planet. When one person shifts in consciousness, they pull 100 or 10 to 100, I can't remember the number, but it's huge, of the sleeping people with them, okay? So remember that. So it says, these uncontrolled thoughts hinder the mind to be used effectively. You must merge more deeply with the feeling consciousness. The body is the key to everything. We mean, without being in your body, you are nothing but a corpse with a mind, and that does no one any good, let alone the planet. You hear what I'm saying? You've been living in your mind, which is, by the way, in a totally different reality. It's an unmanifested reality. And you're walking around barely, stumbling around in life, literally, probably. So you're like a walking corpse, does nothing for this reality. Okay. It says, yes, these are harsh. These words sound harsh, but it's time for harshness, a time for revolt, a time for anger and action, a time for precipitory action. That means a gelling of each individual life force in one direction held by all. And this will come in later, but we all, or most of us, a majority of us, have to realize how we have to get angry enough and realize and stay focused on our feeling and soul purpose to shift things. I've just lost my train of thought. So, enough of that. What else did I want to say? So, the other tool that I used was divination through the I Ching. And its overarching theme, the message for this year, was self-development, true self-development. And how do you develop the true self? Getting into your feeling consciousness, because your true self is feeling consciousness. It is the mother. It is the water. It is Shakti. And it's time that the true self become the leader of the personality. And it says that you are going to be faced, the collective consciousness is going to be faced with their own level of immaturity, their immaturity on a soul evolution level, that you're going to recognize that all these outer things that you've been trying to change in your life are motivated from a mind that is still functioning from a separate, divisive reality. You may not think so. You may think, oh, I'm a light worker. I want to do healing stuff. But somewhere that is coming from a mind that is saying you have to align yourself with this image of a spiritual person and do this. But the separateness comes in because that's not in alignment with your true self. Okay? So that begets the separation. You are separating yourself from true self-purpose. So this is what we want to work towards this year, developing the true self as the leader of the personality rather than the mind, your feeling consciousness. So what you're going to realize when you're diving down into your emotional body and you discover what your true self really wants for you or wanted for you in this life is so much simpler and easier than you could ever imagine. your true self. You're not here to save the world, okay? What I'm hearing is forget about saving the world, awakening your friends and family. Save yourself. Save your true self, okay? When you save your true self, you'll discover that you want much simpler things in life. Friends, family, enjoying nature, growing your own food, simple things, art, you want to express yourself. These are the things that your soul really wants from you. Your soul purpose is always much simpler and less grand, less image-oriented than the mind, okay? So that's where we want to go. So let's see, stop trying to make changes from your mind. Ask your body what it wants, because your cells are always connected to the cosmic consciousness. Your body, through your senses, will tell you which direction to go, okay? So that's the overarching theme, developing your true self as the leader of the personality. Forget the mind, right? I say forget the mind, but the mind must become a subordinate to your feelings. So in the beginning, you have to kind of reject all thought, because you can't really know, you can't really get to your soul purpose and your true heart desires until you've cleared out the belly. Until you've cleared out the belly and function from the belly, your heart is receiving ego-generated or astral body, collective-generated desires that are built on images. Okay? So, big themes for this year, get prepared. Let's see. Now, do I want to tell you about some of my predictions? You must develop the point is, you've got to get angrier than you are. You've got to recognize how far from home this planet and you have become. Home meaning you're feeling consciousness and living simply. That's love, okay? You can't get to love from the mind and external changes. So internal changes, dealing with your emotions. Now, my predictions, what I saw this year was a lot of water stuff. And let me go back to this 3. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. So the 3, the shape of the 3 is the half of the 8. And the 3 is all about, obviously, I'm talking about this for half an hour now, emotions, cleansing and expressing intelligent activity, intelligent emotions. And the 8 and the 9s, and speaking in Hebrew numerology, is all about embodiment and grounding the true self. And we get to that 8 energy, that embodiment energy, the end of 2024, 2025. So it's not too far off. And this is around 2025, many people in the consciousness realm, the mystics talk about this truly being the year of where we see real change. And of course, that comes from, it's an embodiment year, an embodiment time. So 2019 to 2024, 2025, lots of stuff going on. So we're all going to make it. Don't worry. Okay. My predictions. What I saw, and many people have been talking about this, and I see them talking about that after I did my reading, so I'm not going off their back. So I see a lot of water coming to the West Coast big waves, lots of flooding on the West Coast, more Northern California, but maybe not. Oregon and Washington, and I think this is being triggered by, I saw lots more volcanoes. Okay, this is no real stretch. These things have already been happening, but lots of water on the West Coast being triggered by earthquake somewhere. I don't know if close to California or other side. Yeah, I saw lots of big issues with snow. I don't know, snow and the East Coast. I was feeling that it was more next year, but I'm feeling heavy snow on the East Coast, ridiculous amounts of snow. This might even occur soon. I did another reading a month ago, and I saw some flooding in New York City. So I don't know that this might happen. I'm not saying any of this will come true. I'm just sharing with you what I was seeing. When I first checked in, I saw this big cauldron of water being poured all over the globe. And a woman pouring water. And I didn't put two and two together until yesterday that I feel that this year, 2019, is just the beginning of the Aquarian age. Okay, I don't know if I said that earlier. So I think it's here with all this water. Boy, I'm nervous to say this, but I did see in a flash 2 assassination attempts or near misses of Trump and North Korea guy, Kim Jong-un. So that was interesting. And I felt like they were connected in the middle, so it seemed like the same group was responsible for both attempts. I'm just throwing this stuff out there. I also did see that there might be a gathering of people in Washington. I saw the cavalry come in, but citizens as well. I saw the cavalry with their sword, the white cuffs, and they were on horses, and they were all converging in Washington. And the feeling that I got was, everybody thinks Trump is going to do lots of stuff, and he has, and lots of things are coming out. But the anger this year is going to pick up, and which is really good because there's not enough real change happening. Trump is talking a lot and reacting and, saying things about the media and divulging some stuff, but not enough action. And even Trump supporters are going to get like, we've had enough, and we're riding in on our horses, and we're going to be demanding change. So I see some gathering of people, angry people, but angry in a good way. Okay, not in a destructive way. And that sword was so clear, and that white cuff and that blue suit of the cavalry and the horses, that sword of truth coming in. So look, we'll see. Flooding over New York. What else did I see? I heard something about New Iran. And when I asked about that, I saw that the military, the Iranian military, I know nothing about politics, so we'll see, begins fighting amongst itself. So some new regime change going on there, some toppling there. I think that might be it. Anyway, I think it's going to be a big year. Aren't you excited? I am, and it's time for change. I hope you have enjoyed this. This will be fun to see what occurs, but be prepared for flooding, lots of water. Oh my God, I saw a lot more hurricanes going on, so be prepared for that. Anyway, Happy New Year. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope I haven't worn you out too much. I love you. Thank you, and goodbye.